Good morning, Scott here. Hope you're well. Okay, so into NFP week, halfway through. So there's some big news later on during the week. Keep an eye on the news so you're at least you're aware of trading through any news of your currency. I use the Forex Factory. That seems to be the best place for keeping a calendar of when the news is going to occur, and you can obviously sync it to your local time so you know when that news is going to happen. So that's forexfactory.com. You should be able to find that pretty easily. Now, there's quite a few things to look at today. Some I'm not so sure about, but some are looking pretty good. So we'll get stuck into that because there's some good looking stuff out there. Again, be wary of the news. There'll be some big news out later today, I believe. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so let's start with Aussie K. Right, daily, big run up to this level here, which is a pretty solid level, rejected quite nicely, and a very bearish day yesterday. This is an interesting one. Aussie is a bit of a funny one, a bit mixed. Well, anyway, we'll get into that. The Aussie CAD, this looks like a good one, right? A very bearish candle, looking bearish for today. And what we have here on the hourly chart is trend line broken. Funny trend line. But anyway, we're obviously in a bearish trend now. Broken the 1 hour 50 clearly a long time ago, or a few days ago, and now it's just broken through the 4 hour 50. And the fibs line up well, pretty well, for a CBO short. And that can go a little bit lower. Still trending down a bit, it seems. So that should pull back in the not too distant future. That can give us a nice little CBO short. And stop's pretty good. 382 lined up pretty well. And trade down to the daily 20, which is this red line here. Or you could even push it down to the daily 50. Whereas the daily chart, we can see there's a fair bit of room down to the daily 50. Is there a MACD on here? Yes, there is. Let's adjust that. We can see that this higher on the price chart is much lower on the MACD. So that's indicating lower prices. So we could have a price target as the daily 50 and manage the trade accordingly, which should be quite a nice big trade, obviously. That's Aussie CAD. That's one of the better looking ones of the Aussies. Aussie Swiss is also pretty good, I believe. Here we go. So we've got a nice rolling over, beautiful deceleration, a nice, if we had a swing entry there, which we talked about a few days ago, you'd be looking very pretty now. I'd be very happy with that. Now we're looking for that bearish action to continue. So we go to the hourly chart and a very similar thing. We've got a fibs line up very well for a CBO short, and pulls back here to 382, hourly 50, and the 450. Also, we could take this as a pip snatcher. That's also looking pretty good if that's your thing. But obviously the profit targets are much more exciting when we're talking about CBOs. Over 3% there. Okay, moving on. CAD Swiss. Had some CAD news yesterday. There wasn't really much news. Didn't seem to play much into the market price action. On here on the daily, Aussie Swiss. It's actually more of a Swiss move, I think, because Swiss has been gaining strength. And quite a few Swiss pairs are doing this. So we've got bearish day yesterday, rejection the daily 50. Looking like that's going to continue down, maybe to these lows. We have MACD. Oh, we've got a very strong MACD, so we're fighting against the MACD, which is suggesting higher prices. Just be aware of that. Here's a 1 hour chart. We can see we've got a breakdown below the 1 hour 50, not the most convincing, but we can see that we are definitely in a downtrend. And this lines up well for CBO again. If you take from the fibs from this run here, it just broke through the 1 hour 50 and the 4 hour 50. You take it from the top here, it's probably not, oh, it's still okay. Take the top, still looks okay. Depending when it pulls back to 1 hour 50, it pulls back soon, and that could be a better one. Ideally, I'll wait a few more hours. CAD Swiss, so that's not going to happen for another 6, 7, 8 hours, the entry. So we could be looking at a trundling sideways, drifting back, and then they give it time for the 1 hour 50 to catch up. So that's a nice looking CBO short. I can look at that one. Swiss yen, so again, we've got another Swiss pair. It's not been a beautiful price action on the daily, but it's been carried back to the daily 50, and then kind of a complex pullback up, rejected the day 20 a little bit, and now it's back into the day 20 and room up to the daily 50. And there's a pretty strong level I can see just above the daily 50, so maybe we'll wick up to that level. So the yen also has been acting a little bit strange recently. Not sure where it's going to go. So yesterday we had this really big bullish run here. Must be some news event, and suddenly I guess it was the US news, and the Swiss reacted as well. And we've had a strong breakout of this trading range. If we get a pullback, there could be a nice little pip snatcher 1-to-1 long. It's probably the best thing. Or you could also trade that as probably CBO. CBO from here lines up the same as the pip snatcher. But then you can take the time for the 1 hour 50 to catch up in both cases. Swiss yen, yeah, can happen any time today. Then we can now tighten the stop, and we can loosen the profit target, so we can have a bit more of a profit in there. So 2 options there. US Swiss. US Swiss, again, there was that news. The Swiss has gained strength, and the US Swiss dropped down dramatically yesterday towards the daily 50. And here, if it pulls back, that'll be nice for a pip snatcher, and you can probably line up a CBO here as well. But that 1 hour 50 has to catch up, so we've got to give that time for 1 hour 50 to catch up. US Swiss, another 8 hours. Time for this to pull back, 1 hour 50 to catch up. That could be something worth keeping an eye on. Pound Aussie. So this is where we get to the weirdness in the Aussies. We've got some nice high test here, which is telling us in the day 2050 zone. That's suggesting to us that we're going to go short. It's a rejection of that zone, and we're going to go short. And that's kind of what we're getting the vibe from on our 1 hour chart as well. So we have a rejection of the day 2050 zone. We've got a this comes back here. It's pretty good for well, it's not looking great because the 1 hour 50 is kind of starting to drift downwards now. But then again, that can still come down a bit and pull back. That could be CBO for later on in the day. So not prettiest, but keep an eye on that. It's probably better pound and Aussie price action out there. Okay, this is interesting. So we had this trend line which we just kept holding. Finally, it broke down yesterday. So clear breakdown to that trend line. That bearish action will hopefully continue. And this is on that news. Probably the best thing here would just be a simple pip snatcher. You could probably line up a CBO as well. Price action is not looking very pretty though, but that breakout definitely very strong. Maybe keep an eye on that one for a fib line up pretty well with the daily pivots. So that could also be CBO. Maybe the 4 hour is a bit too far behind for CBO. Maybe pip snatcher is the best option there. Pound Swiss. Again, we got a bearish action yesterday. Pound is getting very weak, and the Swiss is getting pretty strong. But we're just progressing to the daily 20, daily 50, which is not great. It's nice to break through it, but we need to clear it really. So we've got a pitch snatcher on here, but we'll be having the daily 50 right. We have to pass through it for an entry and then break through it again towards our take profit. So no ideal on secondary. Kiwi CAD, we just had some Kiwi news about less than an hour ago. There was a bit of a reaction from it, although the news wasn't really anything to be excited about. But we've got a very bearish action yesterday. Maybe that'll continue. And most of that bearish action was there anyway. Then the news came out, which was in the last hour, and we had a big drop. So if that does pull back, that could pull back for a hip snatcher, or even, well, it's a lot. 1 hour 50 is a long way behind, so that's not looking very nice for either of them. Keep an eye on it, but that 1 hour 50 has got a long way to catch up. So keep on the list, but keep an eye on it. So all the Kiwis are not that great because of the news. Got a CAD. It's been kind of in a range, but we've had a break to the daily 50, pull back to daily 50, breaking down, pull back and a higher test with a very bearish looking candle. So it does suggest lower prices. What does the hourly chart give us? A bit of a wild swing there, and we've had both US news and CAD news yesterday. Yeah. So it's running up quite nice at the daily 50, and then a very clear rejection of it. And that's given us that lovely bearish looking candle. So the fib lines up well if it does pull back soon. Got a CAD, that's not going to really set up for another 6, 7, 8 hours. Plenty of time for that price action to pull back up to the pivot, the 1 hour 50. The 4 hour 50 is only just behind, so it could be a nice CBO short or a pitch snatcher. If you do it as a CBO, we can tighten the stop and loosen the profit and get nice profit targets down there. Nothing great is there. Maybe just below this pivot, but you'll be trading to new lows. So maybe the pitch snatcher is the best option there. Depends what your trading plan tells you. Got a Swiss drifting down. I imagine there's a MACD. Yeah, there's a MACD suggesting we are going to go higher, but it keeps on going lower, right? So we're oversold, nowhere near. So that bearish action yesterday from the daily 20-50 zone looks like it might continue. And again, we've got a CBO, just pulled back to CBO. That's quite nice. And we've also got the option of a pip snatcher. So both of those look pretty good. Just two more we quickly look at. These are the Aussie ones, which are a bit confusing. I'll show you a couple of Aussie ones that look pretty good. This one here, for the daily, we're looking at very clear rejection of the daily 50, looking like the trend is going to continue long. We look at the hourly chart, we can see that this could be a CBO setting up, or an IBO, sorry. It's just a pullback to the hourly 50 and then trending back down again, or not. So we'll just see what the Aussie does, but the entry should be about now anyway, so you probably would have missed it if it was going to keep going lower. But just keep an eye out if that news or whatever happened yesterday to drive the prices higher, maybe that will continue higher and produce an IBO short. That could even happen today. So just keep an eye on that one. An Aussie dollar, I believe, is pretty similar. We've got a low test candle. It didn't quite hit the daily 20, so it's not ideal, but it's looking like it may well just break higher. And again, we've got the low test. Is it going to break down to continue a wave 5, although the wave's not that clear here? Make a CBO look pretty good, or IBOC, probably CBO. Or is it going to break higher? We have to give that time to settle down. By the time you see this, it may well be doing something nice. Okay, there we go. So we've got quite a lot of stuff there. Some really nice looking ones. A few that's really a little bit questionable, but hopefully there'll be something setting up nicely today. Again, careful of the news. I wish you all the best. If you're not a member of Pro Trader, scottprotrader.com, sign up for some free training, show you what we've got here at Pro Trader. And if you want to join us, come and join us. I wish you all the best in the markets. I'll speak to you tomorrow. I'll see you then. Take care.